40 minutes or so celebrating online because of the pandemic, while we are just 50 days away from a no-deal Brexit. Yes for EU is the home for everyone, whatever their political persuasion, and everyone who passionately believes in an independent Scotland and full membership of the European Union. I'm the vice convener of Yes for EU, and I would like to invite Morag, who is the convener, to speak to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Hello and happy Europe Day. I'm Morag, I'm the convener of Yes for EU. We're a new grassroots group. We want two things. We want Scottish independence and full membership of the European Union. It's as simple as that. Yesterday was VE Day. Some of the media coverage highlighted the enormous desire for peace in the aftermath of World War II, and that is what sowed the seeds of the EU. Some far-sighted people at that time, notably Robert Schuman, understood that what was needed was creative effort over the long term to achieve solidarity amongst the nations. In other words, building relationships amongst European neighbours was the way to reduce likelihood of conflict. The Schuman Declaration was signed and it laid the foundations of the EU. It was signed on 9th May 1950, so today we're celebrating its 70th anniversary. Many of us Yes for EU supporters were active Remain campaigners over the last 3 to 4 years with the European movement in Scotland and the People's Vote campaign. But we have been taken out of the EU against the will of the Scottish people, who voted to remain by 62%, and I'm sure you don't need reminding of that. In Yes for EU, we'll work to regain our rightful place in the EU by firstly becoming an independent country. We want to regain the benefits of EU membership and work proactively with our neighbours. We're not prepared to wait forever for the UK to realise its folly and reverse its Brexit decision. In the 2014 referendum, independence was rejected, but many no voters have since changed their minds, not surprisingly, and we need Indy Ref 2 now. Scotland is an outward-looking country that values democracy, equality, human rights, social justice, values that closely reflect those of the EU. And that is the union we want to be part of, where, like other small EU member countries, we can be confident of being treated with respect. We understand how important it is to cooperate with international partners, especially if we're going to overcome enormous difficulties, such as the aftermath of war in the past. Climate crisis now, pandemics now. In the wider global context, as part of the EU, we will be playing our part in a globally significant bloc of nations. So we want to work with other pro-Indy groups and pro-EU bodies in Scotland and across the political spectrum to secure a second independence referendum, to gain independence, apply for accession to the EU, and gain full EU membership. That sounds easy. It won't be. There are obstacles, but we're ready to work hard to tackle them, and it will be worth it. Thank you.
Okay, can I invite Leslie now to speak?
Hi, yes, my name is Leslie and I'm the Secretary for Yes for EU. Since 2016, I've been campaigning relentlessly against Brexit. I'm also very passionate about Scottish independence and been campaigning for that as well, as I strongly believe that under the current constitutional arrangements, the people of Scotland have no democratic voice. Therefore, they have no ability to shape the kind of country that they want to live in. Despite devolution, Westminster regularly debates measures that significantly change institutions in Scotland and the quality of life of its people. Again and again, the elected representative of Scotland vote against these measures, but they're imposed on the Scottish people regardless. Basically, a UK government that holds only a small number of parliamentary seats in Scotland can fundamentally change the basic principles which the country is run. The gulf between the society that the Scottish people want and that imposed on them has become ever more overwhelming. And the democratic deficit that Scotland has never been more obvious in the catastrophe that was the Brexit vote. As we all know, the people of Scotland, the Parliament of Scotland, and latterly the courts of Scotland all voted against Brexit and the withdrawal bill. However, they were all ignored and overruled at every turn. This highlighted in full glory what an unequal partnership the UK is. Contrast this to the EU, where all treaties and constitutional changes require unanimous consent from all countries, even if they're big or large. If the UK had the same rules, we would not be leaving the UK and losing our membership of the EU against our will. The claim of right of Scotland says that the people of Scotland have the sovereign right to determine the type of country that we want to be. Scotland has already voted to be a member of the EU. My view is that independence is now the only way that we can get the open, fair, connected society that we always vote for. Thank you.
Okay, Jonathan, it's your turn.
My name is Jonathan Riddle, and I support Yes for EU because I like having freedom to go wherever I want. I grew up in Scotland and I still live near Edinburgh. In the past, I've lived in England, Guadeloupe and Catalonia, where I have many friends and work opportunities. I can do that because I'm fortunate enough to live at a time when governments have worked together to remove the bureaucracy of arbitrary borders. I don't need to ask permission to live and work and make friends in these countries. It's my basic freedom to do so. But now the UK government has made clear it wants these borders restricted, my freedom to be taken away, my choice to live where I want to live on this continent removed. Bureaucracy will be recreated, opportunities limited, and my choices removed. How dare any government do that to me or my society, especially using lies and criminal campaign techniques. With 8 months to go until Brexit takes effect, we don't yet know how much our freedoms will be removed, only that they will be. The economic effects of this will be terrible, but the social ones are what matters to me most. I want to live with my friends in Barcelona if I want to, and I don't want John to say whether I can or can't. I'm not angry, but I am passionate about my freedoms. I support Scottish independence because I want efficient government, which reflects the society I live in. It's not a tribalistic desire to be separate or isolated or different. It's a simple case of wanting my government to mirror the wishes of myself, my friends, my family, my colleagues, and the people I live near. Scotland hasn't voted the same way as England for a long time now, and there's no reason why we should have a government we didn't vote for. I can't think of any function done by the UK government which wouldn't be better done by your local level. It's simply a area of administration I see no need for. Working with our neighbouring countries is vital in a useful society, and those freedoms I spoke about in the EU structure mostly successfully reflect both the people of Europe and member state governments we choose to organise all the boring regulations in an efficient manner. Like every government, I'll engage in debate where there are issues where I think the European structures are likely to make wrong decisions, but that's democracy. If you think the EU structures have come to an incorrect decision, that's a reason to engage with it, but not a reason to disengage. We badly need to learn as a society how to engage with European democracy better, what parties are in power, how the EU Council makes decisions, how to support the parties with the policies we want to see. What even is the programme of government for the European Commission each year? That never gets covered in the media, and it's our failure that we have collectively not engaged with the EU political process. But I look forward to helping fix that in an independent Scotland. The last thing we need is to disengage, become isolated, have governments that do not reflect our votes. Brexit means bureaucracy, and I don't want that. I want freedoms for myself, my friends, my family, and my society. To EU.
Thank you, Jonathan. If you can mute your microphone. Okay, so now, what would an independent Scotland in the EU look like? Well, we already satisfy the EU accession or the Copenhagen criteria. These are political, in other words, respect for human rights. We need to have a market economy. We certainly have that. And we need to have strong institutions, and Scotland has many strong institutions. So we certainly satisfy the criteria. The Scottish Government should sign up to the European Human Rights Convention as soon as possible. Yes for EU will demand full membership of the European Union, including freedom of movement. We value all our partnerships with our European friends, and we want to be able to travel freely across Europe. We need to develop independent environmental, food, agriculture, and fishing policies. And when we've come up with a treaty, we need to have a referendum on the draft treaty. And if the Scots vote to join the European Union, then we are entitled to have 14 MEPs. And I'm looking forward to that. I think we now have time for some music.
Okay. And just trying to. Can someone spotlight me? This is a song I wrote about international solidarity between peoples. On a beach in Euskadi, before the Catalan vote, there are flags made of people, the colours of hope. The Saltar Señera, the sand and the sea, in sunshine and solidarity. Oh, it's awoken across land and the sea, voices spoken, from silence set free, never broken, fueled by the dreams and the spirit of 2014. And on the cold streets of Dublin, under wintry skies, the incarnation of progress, their banners held high. One placard proclaims, all hail to the mob, invokes the wisdom of James Connolly. Oh, it's awoken across land and the sea, voices spoken, from silence set free, never broken, fueled by the dreams and the spirit of 2014. And from the grassroots of Scotland, see the butterflies climb, feel the strength in community, people combined in the face of austerity and corporate greed. There's more than the rock wind blowing the day. Oh, it's awoken across land and the sea, voices spoken, from silence set free, never broken, fueled by the dreams and the spirit of 2014. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have a short slideshow, followed by some videos from our supporters.
Hi, my name is Peter. I think that Scotland is a fantastic place to live. We enjoy all sorts of privileges. We've had peace since the Second World War in Europe, by and large. It is very precious, and without it, our democracies wouldn't exist. So democracy and peace are really important. And democracy means that the will of the people prevail, and that hasn't always been the case in Scotland. So therefore, I think that Scottish self-determination is really important. And that's why you should join us in the Yes for EU campaign, so that we can work with Europe on all the problems of today, and so that we can prosper and live in peace. So please join us, and thank you for listening. Bye.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I grew up in England, and after university I used freedom of movement to live, work and raise my family in Germany and Switzerland for over 20 years. I returned to England in the late 90s and could never have imagined that the UK would turn its back on the EU. I was always proud of my Scottish roots. My Scottish grandmother lived just along the road from us, and eventually, after 20 years working as a teacher in England, I retired to Edinburgh. This was just before the independence referendum, and I was torn, but I voted no because I wanted to ensure our continuing membership of the EU. Since then, and especially since the Brexit referendum, where Scotland, sensibly I thought, voted overwhelmingly to remain in the EU, I've come to realise just how unequal a partner Scotland is in the UK. Scotland has a proud history of European connections, and her place is at the EU table as an open, internationally minded, progressive country. That's why I've joined Yes for EU to campaign for Scotland as an independent country to be part of the European family of nations. Why don't you join us?
Hi, I'm Elise. I've joined Yes for EU because after much debating, questioning, soul searching, I have come to the conclusion that the best future for Scotland is as an independent state within the European Union. Yes for EU's strength is our non-party political stance, and we're looking to recruit members and activists with a wide range of views, opinions and backgrounds, all passionate about the EU. Our common goal will be to campaign cross-party for Scotland to regain its rightful place within the European Union as an independent country. Today, 9th of May 2020, Europe Day, we are launching Yes for EU and hope you come and join us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for watching us. We'd love you to join us. Doesn't matter where you live across Scotland, even if you live in England, you're welcome to join us. We will be organising all sorts of events once the lockdown is over. We will hopefully be joining all of the Indy marches as they come along. And we hope to have some workshops and seminars and conferences, and we'll be out on the streets campaigning just as soon as we're able. So thank you very much for watching this morning, and please check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and we also have a website. Thank you very much.
It's okay for me to finish with a wee song. This one recognizes that we're all part of the same species. So I suppose now more than ever we realize that. A song called Common Ground. So no matter what your worldview is, we can always find common ground, I'm sure. When we meet here on common ground, with the children gathered round, listen and you will hear the sound of people whose hearts are, la 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 alive. La 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 alive. And when we sit here around one fire, watch the flames climbing higher and higher, leave here with memories to inspire of people whose hearts are, la 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 alive. 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 Ooh. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. And thank you to everybody that contributed, Morag, Leslie, Jonathan, and people who have sent us all of those fantastic placards and videos. Thank you, everybody. Morag, do you want to say a few words?
Well, I'll just say thanks very much. If the sound is terrible, I'm sorry. It's because of my very poor, outdated devices. But thank you ever so much, everybody that's taken part, and thanks to everybody who will watch it as well. And please join us. Yes for EU. We're not hard to find. Thank you.